You've heard of the bright side. No one's ever gone blind by looking at things from the bright side, so don't be afraid to give it a try.
Welcome to An Apple a Day, a podcast, a resource, a community. Share your experiences and learn from others as we overcome barriers and learn to live a happy, healthy life with a disability. Welcome to the community. Here's your host, Jimmy Apple.
Welcome to another episode of An Apple a Day. I'm your host, Jimmy Apple. Hey, how you feeling today, my friends? You feeling good? You feeling strong? You feeling better than you did yesterday? Excellent. You can't ask for better than that. Hey, this is the first episode of 2022. That's right. We're here. It's a new year. Put 2021 behind us. Forget about it. We have got a good one for you today. I'm going to introduce you to TJ Cartwright. TJ Cartwright, I met him on our Living with a Disability page over at www.famousapple.com/group. That's our group page on Facebook, Living with a Disability. This is where I met TJ. TJ has a wild story. A number of years ago, he was shot in the face with an arrow in a hunting accident, and he survived, but unfortunately he went blind. Now TJ thought that his life was over. He loved to be out in nature. He loved to be out in the woods. He loved to take his wife and kids camping and hunting and fishing, hiking, doing picnics, just spending as much time out in nature as he possibly could with his family. And he thought his life was over because he went blind. He's thinking to himself, probably like you're thinking, how can a blind guy go out and enjoy nature again? Well, let me tell you something. TJ is an inspiration. And through the love of his family and his friends, he was able to get back up on his feet and not only go out and enjoy nature again. TJ, even though he's blind, he's actually going out and hunting. That's right. He's still hunting. And that's where the name The Blind Hunter comes from. He has a website called theblindhunter.org that chronicles all of this. And it's amazing. And he's amazing. He's an amazing man. You'll be inspired by him because you don't have to be blind to be inspired by him. Just to have the get up and go, to have the courage to do what you want to do. This man embodies it. And, well, you're going to hear it yourself because I'm not going to fluff this up a lot. I want you to sit back, relax, because I want to introduce you to TJ Cartwright, the Blind Hunter. Okay, like I told you, I'm here today with TJ Cartwright. He's also a member of our board, our discussion board, Living with a Disability. But he's much more than that. He's got his own business. He's got his own website. This guy is amazing, and I want you to talk to him. I want you to listen to him. Listen to what he has to say about the outdoors. So, without further ado, how you doing today, TJ?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm freezing up here. I'm freezing.
I bet.
It's like 8 degrees out this morning. And
it's pretty cold here in Idaho too. It's pretty cold.
Oh my God, I feel like a popsicle. That's what I feel like.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Now you're an outdoors guy. Do you go out hiking and hunting and all that in this kind of cold weather?
In the colder weather, I don't really do the hiking as much. During the winter time, I usually spend my time hunting geese and ducks. That's my biggest passion. Is I love hunting geese and ducks.
From where? Your living room? Because I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go outside in this.
No, it's not bad. Me and my cousin, it's called an A-frame blind, and so it's kind of like a blind you just sit in, and then you stand up and shoot. But it's concealed, so we can actually put a buddy heater in it, so we stay pretty warm.
When I was young, I used to go hunting with my father, and I never did this. Well, I shouldn't say that. When we went big game hunting, it was freezing out. But we went out in the morning, we came back in the evening. But
Mm-hmm.
now at this age, if I had to go out and sit in a blind, I want a TV.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I had a buddy that took me out ice fishing one time, and he says, "Dude, we'll just walk out on the ice." And I was like, "Are you crazy? Look at the size of me, and that's ice, and we're gonna walk out there." And he has this whole sled, and he's dragging it out on the ice. And this is up in Lake Tobyhanna in Pennsylvania. And we get out there, and there's a pop-up tent that you sit in, and then he proceeds to take out an auger. I said, "You're gonna cut a hole in the ice with me standing on it." Now, at the time, I weighed something like 210 pounds. I'm thinking to myself, I'm 210 pounds, and you're cutting a hole in the ice. I said, "I'm going back to sit in the car. I'm not going to be out here for this." But
yeah, it gets bad. It gets bad when the ground starts shaking and making noises too. I'll tell you right now, you won't ever see the blind hunter ice fishing. I hate ice fishing. Ice fishing is one of my. I don't like ice fishing at all.
I don't like anything that I got to go on the ice and cut a hole in it.
Yeah. I went out with my dad, and I'm the same way. I'm pretty heavy, and we were out there, and you just hear the ice going boom.
Yeah.
Boom. And I'm like, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah, and then on top of it, to put up to put up the tent, and then take out a space heater. What are you, nuts?
To warm up the ice, yeah. That makes no sense to me either. It's funny.
And I just kept on looking down at it, and I'm thinking to myself, this is a deep lake. I don't want to find the bottom.
Yep, it's funny.
No. But no, so now you have a website. You have a website that you promote outdoor activities on. I'm jumping all over the board here because I'm kind of excited talking to you. But let's start right from the beginning. Let's just explain. Now, you're blind.
Yes.
And that happened through a hunting accident.
Yes.
Now, how do you hunt being blind?
Okay, so the way I'm the majority. So when I deer hunt, the 2 deer that I have shot since I've been blind, I've done it with my grandpa's crossbow that he gave me. My grandpa passed away about 9 years ago. I've been blind for 8 years. And when he passed away, he actually left me his crossbow in his will. And it was kind of amazing because at first I was like, oh, I'm never going to use this because I have, no disability. I don't have no reason to use this, but I'll keep it, So I kept it in my closet for a year. And then my accident happened, and then I went blind. And my dad was like, that's kind of perfect. You could use Grandpa's crossbow. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no way I'm going to kill a deer with a crossbow, Dad, being blind. There's just no way. And then me and my cousin got shooting together. He helped me shoot my crossbow. He kind of just gets behind my shoulder and looks down my red dot sight on my crossbow. Mm-hmm. And he lines me up, and I just shoot, and we got pretty good at hitting the target pretty good. And he's like, well, let's try it. And so in Utah, you can get shooting from a vehicle permit, and you can actually hunt early in Utah with a disability. And so we went out early and took the crossbow, and we set up, and the first deer I shot was at about 30 yards, and he lined me up right on it, and it was a nice 5-point, pretty big deer, one of the biggest deer I've shot in my life, actually. And he just lines me up, puts the dot on it, and I pull the trigger. And,
unbelievable.
And I shot the deer, and then after that, I actually got put on KSLnews.com. It's in Utah. So if you can actually go to my website too, and there should be a link to that, and you can click on the link to that also and watch the KSL News, me on the news, talking about my deer hunt and stuff. And
we'll definitely put a link to that in the show notes for this, so you can go see that.
Yeah,
that's amazing. All right, so we know you've been blind for 8-9 years. How long have you been hunting?
Oh, I've been hunting my whole life since I basically could start walking. So 3. So I've been hunting for 20 plus years. So
have you? You're like me. My dad started me out very young.
Yeah.
And it was always important to him that I knew about firearms and the nature and all this other stuff. And I always liked it. I like everything about nature, to be honest with you. But I'm limited now because of the wheelchair. going into nature, but I love everything about nature. And
Oh, so that's what I was going to tell you. If your disability is like you don't have your legs, I've heard, because I'm on the 306 disabled hunters in Idaho,
uh-huh.
and I hear people talking on their paraplegics and all that, talking about that they go and kill an elk and they went and killed an elk, deer, all this stuff, and they use this. It's a 4-wheel drive. They call it a 4-wheel drive wheelchair. So it's got like the paddles on it, and it goes. I guess it goes everywhere.
Well, that's what they had. It's interesting you say that. I was looking at one not too long ago.
Uh-huh.
There's a wheelchair that actually has treads on it, track like a
Yeah,
tank.
yeah, yeah. That's what I meant. Yeah, it's really super cool.
It is, but it's also super expensive.
Oh yeah, they're way expensive. Yeah, I've looked at them. They're pretty pricey, but I've heard people that get them and they say, "Oh man, it changes your life."
Without a doubt. And I mean, I live in the upstate New York, and I have a couple of acres here. Right now, I just 2 weeks ago received a new power chair. I seen the price on that, and I can only. That's what made me look at the one with the treads, to see how much they are.
Yeah, they're expensive.
To have both chairs, it's worth more than me.
Yeah, just more than your house.
more than me. Period.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It'd be my whole financial portfolio would be 2 wheelchairs.
Yeah.
Now,
I agree.
Now, do you get out? Do you get out and do any camping?
Oh yes, I camp as much as I can. When I first went blind, I didn't do as much as the outdoors and stuff because when I got in my accident, I kind of thought that my hunting, camping, fishing life was kind of over. I didn't really think I could do any of that anymore. And then my dad, told me, you can do anything you want. You just got to do it. We just got to figure out ways you can do it. So we figured out, the phone scope for my rifle so I can shoot a rifle.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you can actually fish. All you need to do is throw a pole out. So that's basic. And camping, of course, I can still go out. I just got to be more careful when I'm outdoors.
Sure.
Where I'm walking and stuff like that. But as far as camping, yeah, I love to go camping. We try to do it as much as we can. We haven't done it much lately. Like this summer, we didn't do it that much. But I get my other kids that live in Utah for 1 month out of the summer, so I try to do basically a lot with them when they come. So, and they don't really like they're my kids. Trust me, they're my kids, but they don't like the camping thing really as much as I do. So,
isn't that kind of disturbing?
Yeah. Well, nowadays it's different too. Kids are so much consumed with their video games and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, they'll go on video games and shoot criminals and shoot everybody else, but God forbid they go out in nature. But that's what that's like. Man, I had bought for one of my nephews. I bought him a motorcycle. No, not a motorcycle, a quad. And I thought that was the greatest thing since Ice-T. I think he's used. I think he's used it 4 times. He's more involved with computers.
Oh yeah. That's the way my oldest son is. He's 13, and he loves to go. He loves to go hunting with me. Like he'll go with me and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he's more consumed with his Fortnite and stuff like that. But
I tell you, real quick, when my daughter was very young. One thing about me, I always wanted a go-kart when I was a kid. So maybe I'm living vicariously through my daughter. But I figured, well, she was 11, and my wife said I was wrong. But I'm thinking to myself, when I was 11, I was old enough. So I went out and I started looking for go-karts. And at the time, we lived in Pennsylvania. So to find a place that sold go-karts, it wasn't that easy. So I seen when some guy was selling it, and he says it's brand new, still got the tags on it. So I drive out to his house in Scranton, and there's the go-kart. Brand new, plastic still on the seat. There's even a bow on the steering wheel. And now this is in, July. He says, I bought it for my son for Christmas. And he explains to me, he says, I had it in the driveway. It was sitting there. I told him, come on out. Look what I got you. He comes out. He looks over the railing of the porch. He looks down. There's the go-kart, all shiny and bow and everything on the steering wheel. And he goes, yeah, that's nice. Went back inside and played his video games. Kid never drove it. Never drove it.
Yeah, that would make me a little irritated.
So he said that he said come the summer. He says I needed the space in my shed. He says so.
See, my kids are a little opposite on that. If I give them a 4-wheeler or a go-kart like that, they'll ride that all day long. They'll forget the video games. But with the hunting stuff, though, my son's more of the age where he's just getting to be able to be the age to hunt,
right,
to actually hunt legally, and so he's getting into it now. But before he kind of wasn't, because his idea was kind of the way I thought when I was younger. If I don't get to shoot something, then I don't really want to go. So I understand that when you're a young kid, you don't want to go and freeze your butt off and not shoot nothing. That's kind of boring. But,
yeah, this is true.
But he does. They go camping with me when we go and stuff. They do have fun, but the majority of the time they'd rather be playing their video games.
I'm sure, that's just the way it is now. But
yeah,
I love getting out in nature. And now, when you go camping, do you tent camp or you have a camper?
So I don't actually. Me and my wife are looking into getting a camper right now. But as of right now, we usually go. That's why we usually go in the summertime. Mm-hmm. Is because it's warmer. So we normally just tent it.
What kind of tent do you have? Is it a 2-person, 4-person, 10-person?
It's actually a 10-man tent.
10-man? Really?
Yeah. So it's a big tent. It's a big one. We bought it for like $500. It was pretty expensive, but we kind of figured we have a bigger family, and if we all go and we want to have room to put a buddy heater in it if we need it, so we kind of got us a bigger one.
A 10-man is $500? Isn't that expensive for a 10-man tent?
No, it was actually a pretty good price for the size that we got.
And where'd you get that, at Cabela's?
I actually did get it at Cabela's, yeah.
So now you have a link on your site to Cabela's that they could go and take a look at that.
Yeah, so if anybody's watching this or whatever and you want to order something off Cabela's, you can go to my website, theblindhunter.org. It'll have a Cabela's link. You just click on the Cabela's link and you can shop various items. There's tents, bows, rifles, shotguns, decoys, duck calls, goose calls. There's everything on there that you can just go on there and click on there and buy whatever you want off Cabela's. It's really cool.
You can get all the toys that the Blind Hunter has. He has.
Yeah. You can use all the stuff that I use.
His wife goes Christmas shopping at Cabela's for him. That's...
Whoa, for sure. Oh, for sure. I tell my wife, it's funny that you say that, because I tell my wife every year, I say, all I want for Christmas and my birthday, because my birthday's in December, so my birthday and Christmas are very close. Mm-hmm. So I tell her every time, every year I want for Christmas and my birthday is I want decoys. Are you serious? That's all you want every year? Yep, every year. That's all I want, decoys.
Let's see. There you go. So you can... You can go on his site and buy decoys for your birthday too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Go whenever you want some more decoys. Just say, hey, honey, let's go to that website and click that link.
There you go. He gets decoys under the tree in his stocking. He gets duck calls. He gets it all from Cabela's, and you can do the same thing.
Yep, Cabela's is a really good sporting goods store to go to. I buy some stuff from Sportsman's, but the majority of the stuff I do hunt with and use is all from Cabela's. I love Cabela's.
Cabela's is an amazing store. They're huge. I know.
Oh yeah.
When I lived down south, when I lived in South Carolina, that was the first time I seen a Cabela's, or it was Cabela's. Yeah. The outdoor store, whatever you want to call it. It was Cabela's. Yeah. And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah. And they have shipping. They ship right to your house. Except for firearms. Can't buy firearms through mail. But everything.
Everything. I'm not. Don't quote me on this, but I'm not positive. But I'm pretty sure you can still ship muzzleloaders. I'm pretty sure. If you buy a muzzleloader from Cabela's, I'm pretty sure they can. I might be wrong on that, so you might want to double check, but I'm pretty sure they can ship muzzleloaders, because I don't think a muzzleloader is considered a firearm.
Wow.
But I could be wrong on that, but You'd have to check.
But when you go into a Cabela's, it's like going into a candy store for someone that's an outdoor enthusiast, because it's not just guns or fishing rods; it's everything else. It's all the supplies.
They have everything, camo. They have food. They have everything there.
Well, MREs. If you're in the service, you might want to stay away from that. Those MREs, just add water. It tastes like chicken.
Yeah. And if you're like me and you have two little kids, you take your kids there. They love there's the fishing tanks, the aquarium.
I was going to say that they have the big indoor lake or whatever it is in there. At Christmas time, they blow it out. They do some job.
Oh yeah, they have Christmas Santas there, everything.
Yeah, but your dad sounds like a very wise man when he told you you can still do it. See, that's the whole point of this podcast, is people still being able to do things even though you have a disability. Now, one thing that you wrote on the Living with a Disability page that struck me is that you're waiting for someone to give you a chance. That's what you wrote that. As disabled people, and I think you notice, you don't have to wait for someone to give you a chance. If you were waiting for someone to give you a chance, you would have never made this website. You would have never taken the steps that you've taken to go out and get back into hunting. You're facing the obstacles that you have to face, and you're getting around them.
Yeah, you have to do it yourself too, also.
And you are.
But there is some things in life that some people do need to help you. Like I can, like you said, I've done the blind hunter stuff. I've done everything I can to try to make a little bit of money and do what I can for my family.
Sure.
But as far as I do still need some help from other people, like people to say, okay, he's blind, but yeah, he could do this. I could see him doing this, and then give me a job or something like that. And I have worked since I've been blind, but it's just been sign holding jobs. I've been holding signs and stuff, which, it's just a little bit of extra money, so it's nice.
Right.
But yeah.
But you're still out there, yeah, and it's all baby steps. I mean, it's terrible. Like you, most of us, we got hurt during our life. A lot of people are disabled from birth, but we got hurt during our lifetime, during our adulthood or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's a big change going from working every day. Like me, I never took a sick day in my life, ever. Never took a sick day until the day I got hit by a truck. Then after that, it's been one long sick day. But
yeah,
it was a big change. And for you, I'm sure it's a big change.
Oh, yeah.
Going from being out there and producing and being the family breadwinner and this, that, and the other thing. I went through all of these changes in my head to the point that I almost exploded. And then trying to get back onto track. And the whole thing that it is you have to realize you're not in this position because you want to be. If you had a choice, this would have never happened, and you'd still be doing whatever you were doing before the accident, right?
Yeah. And that's what everybody always asks me. Everybody always asks me, what's the one thing that you wish you could see again? And I tell everybody, besides the main fact, it's obvious I'd love to see my beautiful wife and I'd love to see my kids. That's the number one thing I'd love to see. But outside of that, the number one thing I tell everybody that I miss seeing the most is a group of geese just coming right in, locked up and coming into my decoys. That's the biggest thing I miss seeing in my life, is just a bunch of geese just coming right into my decoys. I miss that probably the most.
Here's the other thing. Now here's the flip side of that. You were able to see that. You did see that. You had it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what makes it hard not seeing it now.
Yeah, well, it makes it hard not seeing it now, but at least you did see it at some point in your life.
Yeah, that's true.
There's some people that have never seen anything, don't know what you're talking about. People that were born blind, say, that have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They can only go by what someone else described to them. So you're a step ahead of them. And that's what I always say. True. Things can always be worse. No matter what way you look at it, things can always be worse because there's someone else somewhere wishing that they were in your position.
Yeah.
And that's why I said your dad is very wise, because he said, you can still do it. You just got to change the way you're doing it. And you're doing that. So you
if
got
it wasn't,
what's that?
if it wasn't from, if it wasn't for my dad's, if it wasn't for my dad's, what my dad has taught me in my life, I would probably be dead now. Just because when my accident happened, as soon as I got shot, the only thing I kept thinking in my head is, what would my dad do? What would my dad do?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, okay, first thing my dad would do is get someplace safe where he knows an ambulance is going to come, you know?
Right.
So we walked a couple mountainsides and got to the road, and I just walked straight to the road and just sat in the middle of the side of the road, basically, and just waited for the ambulance to come. But if I would have never had that knowledge that, you know, what would my dad do, I probably would have sat there panicked and just sat there and
Bled
just
out.
died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
That's what I said. Your dad sounds like a wise man, and he gave you wise advice then, and he's giving you wise advice now. Just things that you have to do, things that you want to. You can do anything that you want to do. That's the whole point. No matter what you want to do in life, you can do still. And you're not a disabled person. That's one thing that people have to get out of their mind. There is no such thing as a disabled person. If
I agree.
There's such a thing as a person with disabilities.
Yes.
But there is absolutely no such thing as a disabled person. Because if you're a disabled person, go put yourself in a box and bury yourself. There's no such thing.
If you cannot do such stuff, then why even be here, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Everybody in life has some sort of disability. Maybe our disabilities are a little bit larger than other people's disabilities, but everybody has a disability. And what you're doing is phenomenal, actually, to me. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you. Because you sat down and you said, all right, I'm blind. I know other people that are blind that have sat down. They've kind of given up hope, and then they come back, and a big thing for them is that they're able to read. And that's big for them. That's great. And I think that's great. You've taken it a step further. You went beyond, well, I can read. Now I can put out a website, and now I can tell people how to be able to enjoy the outdoors with a visual disability, which is a big thing.
Yes.
People that have a visual disability believe that everything is done. Would you have thought before your accident that someone who was blind could still enjoy the outdoors?
Yeah, that's one thing I always talk to my wife about is before I went blind, I never even thought about blind people hunting or I mean, yeah, I've thought about people that can't walk and stuff. I've thought about that, but I don't know why. But when I could see, I never ever thought of a blind person hunting. Or, I mean, if you came up to me and said, "Hey, what would you think about this blind person hunting?" I'd probably be like, that doesn't sound safe.
Yeah, I want to stay behind them.
That don't sound safe to me. But what a lot of people don't understand is that's why I told you the way I hunt, because I hunt with somebody always helping me. Mm-hmm. I'm not just going out there with a gun and just shooting, you know. Right. I have somebody aim for me. I have somebody help me, tell me when I'm shooting. I have somebody always there constantly. And like when I go duck and goose hunting, I just mainly point and shoot. I hear the geese and I just point and shoot, but I know which directions I'm shooting in. I've hunted my whole life, so I know not to shoot past 10 and 2.
Right.
And then I'm always, if you ask any of the people I hunt with, they will tell you I'm always constantly saying, "Hey, where's everybody at? Where's everybody?" You know, I'm always making sure I know where everybody is at all times.
Sure.
And I tell everybody, if you're going to go out and check the decoys or move the decoys or go pick up a goose or whatever, just let me know that you're in front of me. Just let me know that you're going to do those things. So just so I know.
Sure.
And so I'm always, people's told me 100 times they'd rather hunt with me than a lot of other people because I'm a lot more safe than anybody they've hunted with. And part of my safety is because of my dad and what I've been taught as a kid. I'm a very safe person. I try to be as safe as I can. And that's what I want everybody to know that looks at my website is, yes, you're blind, visually impaired, disabled, but you can still get out there. You can still go hunting. You can still do what you love in the outdoors, but you also got to be smart and safe about it also.
Well, that's one of the things that impressed me about your website, because you open the door to people with disability, not just blind people, but to everybody. People like myself, people who have hearing loss is another thing, because
Oh yeah, for sure.
that's frightening, to be in nature and get maybe displaced, maybe get lost and be deaf. That again, that's frightening. But you've
Yeah,
opened the
that's
door.
scary. Yeah.
You've opened the door to people with disabilities, to let them know that you're still able to go into nature and enjoy what nature has to offer. And that's what impressed me about your website.
Yeah.
That's what impresses me about you. That's what impresses me about you, because you're not just sitting back. You're looking to share your experience with other
Yeah.
people, and your experience is what's going to help teach other people how to be safe. See,
Yeah.
you're a wealth of information because you've been doing this for so long, and now you're doing it with a disability. You're a wealth of information for other people who might be afraid, but may be encouraged by you to go out there and take that first step and say, maybe they won't go out in the woods. Like, I mean, like, you're like Tarzan. You're going out in the woods and you're
Yeah.
hunting
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
But you may be
Yeah.
you may be encouraging someone to take that first step, maybe to go into a nature preserve or a park, and
Yeah, just be comfortable and go, even just if you want to go out camping. I mean, you shouldn't be afraid, even especially if you're blind or visually impaired. I understand how scary that is. Trust me. Going from seeing my whole life and then not being able to see, that's number one thing why I was so scared to go camping again. Is just because how am I going to be camping out? I'm going to be outside. It's going to be scary. I mean, what if a bear attacks me, or something like that. It is, I agree with everybody, it's super scary. It is being blind, but knowing the way I do now, I go camping because I'm always with my family. I always have somebody there with me. I'm not ever alone. That's part of camping in its own sense anyway, is to go out with family and have a good time and have fun. So if you're always with somebody constantly,
right.
you
And
can have a good time. So,
well, you should never go camping on your own.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
should never go in the woods on your own. You should always have the buddy system, whether you can see or not see, or you're perfectly able-bodied or not. You should always have a buddy with you. But
yeah,
what I'm getting at though is you're encouraging people. You're giving them the encouragement to go out and explore maybe what they thought that they lost forever. Whether they're blind, deaf, dumb, whether they're crippled or whatever, you're giving them that encouragement, and that, to me, that impresses me so much. And again, that's what makes you such a viable part of Living with a Disability. Makes you a viable part of the podcast, is that you're encouraging people. You're not one of these people that are sitting back going, "Woe is me," I lost everything, I can't do anything, and da 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 da. Honestly, I feel bad for people like that, but I really don't have all that much respect. Everybody has their right to a pity party. Everybody.
yeah,
And I'll be the first one to join the pity party with you. But there comes a time when the party has to end, and you have to be able to stand up and say, okay, now what? But there's some people that let their pity party last a lifetime.
yeah,
And
yeah, exactly.
I'm sure when this first happened to you, I know when it first happened to me, I hated the world.
Oh, me too. Yeah,
I despised everybody. I thought my life was over. I can't tell you. But then there comes a time where, after a while, that got old to me, and I said, I got to do something now. What am I going to do? And I'm sure that's what happened with you. You went through it. You're entitled to go through it. It's a life-changing event that happened to you. So you're entitled to go through it. But after a while, you sit there and go, all right, I'm better than this. And you came up with the website. You're talking about people being able to get back out there. You're showing them there's obstacles. Damn, being blind and going into the woods and nature and everything, that's a big obstacle. That's a huge obstacle.
yeah,
But you're managing to show people, look, there's an obstacle there, but you can either go around it, go over it, go under it, but some way you're going to get past it, and you're going to enjoy nature again. And that's what you're doing. And I commend you for that. I really do. Your website is an important website for people.
Yeah, that's what I want it to be. I just want it to be inspirational. I actually when I lived in Utah, when I first started the Blind Hunter, I got a call from this guy, and he's like, "Hi, it's just TJ." I'm like, "Yeah," and we started talking, and so he has a sister that actually just went blind about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she's the kind of person like I was. She always hunted, always did all that stuff, and when she went blind, she's like, "Oh, my," basically thought what I did. My hunting life's over, blah 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 blah. And then she stumbled upon my Blind Hunter website, and she got on it and seen the news story of me shooting my deer and all that stuff. And he said it inspired her so much that she actually went and bought her a crossbow, and she was putting in for the deer hunt this year. And that is what my website's about. That right there is why I made the Blind Hunter, is to make people realize they can still do it. They can still go out. They just got to do it and have the will and just do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that goes for every part of your life.
Yeah.
That goes for every part of your life. Here, I lost a leg. I only have one leg. Now,
Okay.
I was a truck driver. I drove one of the big trucks. I rode motorcycles across the country, and to lose a leg, how am I ever gonna be able to drive? Plus, on top of that, a couple of heart attacks, a couple of strokes, and all this other. But driving was my life. Well,
Yeah.
after a while, I said, "Well, I'm not giving up driving," and I drive today. I have to drive. I have to drive an automatic, but I drive. And
but still, stuff like that, that's what's inspirational. Everybody always tells me that I'm an inspiration, but there's people like you, like what you just said. That to me that's a superhero to me.
No, it's not.
I think that's amazing that you driving was your life, and I agree with you. You lose a leg, you're like, how is that going to happen again? And then you just say, no, I'm not going to let this control me, and then you just do it. And I think you're a superhero.
Well,
that's awesome.
That's how I feel about you. That's and everyone has it in them. But believe me when I tell you this, everybody has it in them if they reach down deep down far enough. And I see it on our website a lot, where people who have they've seemingly lost everything, and they're climbing their way back. There's a lady on there, Melanie. She spent I don't know how long in a coma. And she's back, and she's back hiking. She's not doing 100% of everything she used to like to do, but she's doing it. But she's back there, and she's doing it, and she's out there. She amazes me. There's a number of people on that website that amaze me. And that's what that website's about. You go to some of these disability websites, and I tell you what, there's one. I go to a number of them, just to keep up with what's going on. And there's some that I go to and I read them, and I want to put an ice pick in my ear just because these people, they 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they're moaning and groaning, and there's never any progress. Never.
Yeah. And that's why I started my website, is to just, I don't want the negativity.
Exactly.
And I naturally try to tell people, if you get on my website, I understand everybody has the opinion that blind people shouldn't hunt. Blind people are unsafe. I understand, and trust me, I understand their reasoning behind that, because like I said before, I think of a blind person hunting. Yeah, that don't sound safe to me. But what people don't understand is people like me, that I've hunted my whole life, and I've been able to see 23 years of my life. And then I lose my eyesight. I still know how to handle a rifle. I still know where I'm shooting. I mean, like I told you, I go out with a person that helps me. My cousin usually helps me. I always have someone there to tell me what. I'm not just going out there and shooting random stuff,
Well, you know what bothers me sometimes with people with disabilities? The other people look at us and they say, like you, they look at you and they say, "Oh my God, he's blind and he's going to shoot something." All right, you know what? You lost your eyesight, okay? You didn't lose your mind.
That's what I tell. That's what I tell people. I say that's what I tell people. I say I might be blind, but I'm not dumb.
Right, exactly. You lost your eyesight. Doesn't make you stupid.
Yeah.
It just means you lost your eyesight. And I see that daily with people I talk to. Someone has a stroke, and when you lose your voice and you have a stroke, all of a sudden you sound like you not to be funny, but you sound like you're drunk 24 hours a day. Or you sound
like Kermit the Frog.
Yeah. Right, exactly. All right.
Yeah. But I had too many strokes in my accident too, so yeah, I know all about that too.
But it doesn't mean you're stupid. It means you have a disability with your voice.
Yeah.
So you can still think, and people look at people with disabilities and they think that, oh, they have, you have a bad arm, or you're blind, or you're missing a leg. Poor you. But that means somehow our mental ability is diminished because of a physical disability. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And you're you're the living example of that. All right, so you lost your eyesight. Big deal. I mean, it is a big deal, don't get me wrong. But you lost your eyesight. That doesn't mean that you lost your mind. Doesn't mean that you've lost all the knowledge that you've accumulated over the years. It just means you lost your eyesight. You're still TJ, the guy before the accident. If someone cut their finger, does that make them stupid? No.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's very true.
So I mean, it's a bad maybe it's a bad comparison, but it's not. You had an accident, you lost your eyesight. Somebody cuts their hand, they lost the use of their hand for a little bit. Does it make them, less intelligent?
Like you lost your leg, but does that make you dumb enough not to know how to drive a vehicle?
Right. Does that make me a bag of rocks because I lost the leg?
Yeah.
I don't think it does. Well, maybe I might have been a bag of rocks before that too, but I don't know.
I actually lived when I could see. I actually lived in Price, Utah, and one of my across the street neighbors, he actually had one leg too, and he would come out and he'd play basketball with us. He was actually really fast, and it was amazing watching him. It really truly was. It was truly amazing. That's watching stuff like that and seeing stuff like that inspires me, and that makes me motivated to know I might be blind, but like you said, I might be blind, but there's always somebody out there that has it worse. There's always that's the way you got to think about it. There's always somebody out there that has it a little worse than you do.
That's it.
With everybody in the world.
That's it. That's how I always close out the podcast, that no matter how bad you think it is, there's somebody right now, somewhere, that wishes they were in your position.
Yeah, exactly.
And people actually got on me for saying that, saying, what are you saying? Why are you saying that? You're hurting people's feelings. No, I'm not. It's just that when you're thinking that you have it the worst, somebody has it worse than you.
Yeah.
And somebody has it worse than them somewhere. And it goes on and on and on. It's like, people have to realize that we have a disability. It's not the end of the world. And you are a shining star when it comes to proving that. I mean, I can't think of... You're right up there. I interviewed a fellow. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's an inspirational speaker. His name is Chad Foster. And if you get a chance, look him up on YouTube. He lost his eyesight when he was a teenager through a disease.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first person to graduate from Harvard Business School, blind. First blind graduate of Harvard Business School. Funniest guy in the world. Now, he went through the whole thing like we were talking about, the pity party. He was mad at the world and on and on and on. Well,
but he overcame it and did that. That's a superhero to me. That's cool.
Well,
and that's what a lot of disabled people, there's just a bunch of superheroes in this world that people don't realize.
That's exactly the point I was just getting at. There are so many people out there that are strong, and they're people to be looked up to, really. Like you're somebody that people can look up to and say, wow, if TJ can do this, and he's blind, well, I'm missing a limb. I'm missing an arm. If he can do it and he's blind, I can try it.
Yeah.
Or I'm missing one eye, or I'm blind in one eye from an accident at work. If he can do it, I can do it. I have one eye. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If he can do it with no eye, and that's what I mean. Before my accident, I always never thought of, that's why I always use that reference, superheroes, because when I was a younger kid, my superheroes were my mom and dad, just because my dad worked 100 hours every 2 weeks, or he always worked and put food on the table, made sure I played baseball and basketball and did all the stuff I loved to do as a kid because he worked his butt off for me. In my opinion, that was a superhero to me. And then my mom was my superhero because she took care of us, raised 6 kids, made sure we had food on the table every day, made sure the house was clean. That, in my mind, that was a superhero. I never thought of people with disabilities as superheroes because I was never in that situation and I never was around people with disabilities. But since I went blind, I've just realized in my mind that almost unless you're like the people that you talk about, like the people that just go, oh, poor pitiful me, I'm not going to do nothing. Those kind of people, you're working through your own stuff, and I'm not judging you because I understand that. I've been through that. That part of my life where I was thinking I would hate the world and everything like that. But it's the disabled people that go above that, and people like you that you lost your legs and then you could still drive. That, to me, that's a superhero. And like me doing the blind hunter stuff and wanting to inspire people to get out and go hunting even though you're disabled, to me, that's a superhero. I realize there's all sorts of superheroes out there, but I realize that there's a lot of disabled people out there that are my superheroes.
Exactly. And that's the one thing that I want people to realize, and I want the disabled people to realize they are the superheroes. Too many times people feel down on them. They lose their self-confidence. Some people lose their self-respect. You have more reason to be confident because you're working twice as hard as anyone else just to get by in life.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't build self-respect within you, I don't know what will.
Absolutely right.
To know that you're working twice as hard as somebody else that has eyesight. You're working twice as hard and getting the same thing accomplished that they are. That should build your self-confidence and your self-respect up through the stars.
Oh, for sure.
And on top of that, to take the time to build a website to help other people realize this, forget about it. You're over the moon as far as I'm concerned.
For sure.
You're over the moon. You're helping yourself and you're helping others. And to me, that's tremendous. You can't ask for better than that. And I commend you for it, TJ. I really do. And I've followed you, like I said, I followed you on the website. I've listened to some of the things you wrote. When I first seen you on the website, I was like, you said something, I'll never forget it. I forget what the question was. It was like, what is something you look forward to or something? And you said, it was around Thanksgiving. You said shooting a turkey. I was like, what the hell did this guy just say?
Yeah. That's what I'm going to do that too. And I want everybody to know that's listening to this also. I'm hoping with Jimmy's help, because Jimmy said he's going to help me. I hope you guys will look forward to seeing. I'm going to try to start doing a blind hunter podcast, and I'm going to talk about disabilities and hunting and all that stuff. And maybe even Jimmy would want to be a guest on my show. So
you have no choice. I'm going to have to be a guest on your show.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I'm already booking myself.
Yeah, for sure. So I hope everybody's looking forward to maybe seeing that. We're going to do a blind hunter podcast, and then I'm also going to try to. I just got to get the right equipment. I haven't necessarily had the right equipment, but I'm going to get the right camera and everything like that, and I'm going to start shooting some of my hunts. So I'll have a link on my website later to all my deer hunts, my duck hunts, just my hunting in general, so you guys can see how I do the hunting stuff and how I hunt and how cool it is to watch a blind guy shoot something. So I'm hoping people are pumped up to see that. I'll try to get that out as soon as I can. I just got to get, like I said, the right camera and get the right video stuff so I can get some good videos of me hunting. And so I'm hoping to get that out by next year. I'm hoping to get some, hopefully starting with a turkey. I'm hoping to start with the spring turkey hunt. I'm really hoping to get me shooting a turkey on video and posting that for everybody to watch. So.
And let me just point out that even though it's called The Blind Hunter, this is not just set for people with disabilities, whether you're disabled or not. This is a very interesting site, and what he's got planned. Let me tell you, we talked in depth a couple of days ago, and he's got plans for a podcast. Now, I usually don't help the competition, but this guy's got good plans. He's got good plans for a podcast, and I think his plans, his podcast will become one of the good ones. And it's not just about hunting. It's not just about some people take hunters, and this is something else where misconception. People take hunters and you think killing. No, it's not. Hunters take care of nature. They take care of animals. It's not a matter of destroying animals. It's a matter of being a good steward for nature. And
the blind hunter's not all just about hunting and killing stuff. I don't want everybody to think that either. It's just going out camping, hiking, being with your family. That's what the blind hunter is about, is knowing your limits, what you can do, and if you kill something in the way, that's fun, everything like that. But I want everybody to know that the blind hunter is mainly for getting people out back in the outdoors and just camping with your family and being with your family, hiking, camping. There's plenty of disabled people that I know that still like to go shedhorn hunting. I mean, you could go out shedhorn hunting, go look for sheds.
Wait a minute. What's a shedhorn? Okay. What's a shedhorn?
Okay, so shedhorn hunting is, so people know, is so naturally deer and elk lose their antlers during a certain time of year. Uh-huh. And people actually go out and just look for horns. Oh. And they collect horns, and some people sell them. Some people keep them. A lot of people normally do it so they can sell them, because you can actually make decent, not a ton, but you can make decent money selling sheds. But
now that makes sense to me. Shed horns.
I mean, I don't think you'd see a blind person out shedhorn hunting, but I could still go with my friends, and they could pick them up, and I could walk with them. So.
Oh, no, when you said shedhorn, I was born and raised in the Bronx in New York. So when you said shed hunting, I'm trying to think. Now I've gone deer hunting and bear hunting, and I've gone small game hunting. Never heard of a shedhorn. And
yeah.
I'm thinking
it's kind of a newer thing. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Is this like Bigfoot or something? What the hell is a shedhorn?
yeah.
But no, it like I said, you just amaze me. And I had so much fun talking with you, and the plans that you have for this podcast, I'm really excited for you. I'm really excited for it, because you're not just about disability. You're not just about outdoorsmanship. You're about all of it combined. And to me, that's very important, because there's people, like I said, and I keep on saying this, and I know it sounds repetitive, but there's people that think that they've lost the ability to enjoy the outdoors. And you're showing them that they're wrong with your website. But now with this podcast that you're coming up with, you're going to be bringing the outdoors right to them. Yeah. And the next step, the next step is you're going to have to go to their house, take them by the hand, and walk them into the woods. I mean,
and I would actually be more than happy to do that. If people wanted to contact me or anything, and they want to just go with me, I would be more than happy to show them around. If they're close to me or whatever, I'd love to go. I mean, I can help. I mean, even if somebody's kind of, not wanting to go hunting, just wants to go shooting or something, and they not too sure how to handle a firearm, I'd be more than happy to help them. And like I said, I have people that have hunted their whole lives with me, so they could help them. And me and my cousin would be more than happy to help anybody that wants to learn and get out there. That's for sure.
See, now if I said that, my luck, I'd get Son of Sam that call me up and say, "Hey Jim, I'd like to go out in the woods with you. I have my own gun." Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Another thing, Jimmy, I forgot to tell you about too, that everybody can also go on. So my wife actually started people that want to help people that sign up on my website, or they can actually sign up to be like a big brother, like
Oh, cool.
people that want to take blind and visually impaired or disabled hunters out shooting or hunting or camping. So it's kind of like a big brother. It's not a big, it's called something else, but it's like a big brother program. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, very cool.
So yeah, my wife started that, and I thought that was very cool.
Very
But
cool.
you can find that on my website too. It's like so if you want to mentorship.
Mentorship.
That's what it is.
Right.
Yeah. So if you want to sign up on my website to be a mentor, that would be, I would love for anybody to want to do that too. So if you have, somebody that's disabled in your family that you take out hunting, and you wouldn't mind someone else coming along, or if you don't have anybody that's disabled and you just want to help your community or help inspire people and just take people out, that we'd be more than willing for you to sign up on our mentorship and help disabled people around the world to get back into hunting and camping. So
now let me ask you something. On your website, would you let your readers share stories with you?
yes, absolutely. If anybody wants it, we have a comment section on our website. If you want to drop me any comments, or if you got a specific question you want to answer me, because that's what I'm going to basically do with my podcast, is I'm going to do interviews like you do. And then I'm going to do a majority of my episodes are going to be about questions and answers. So I'm just do a lot of Q&A. I'm going to do a lot of answering people's questions the best I can, because I think people want the knowledge how to help a blind or how to help a disabled person, and I can't give them the exact knowledge on how to help a paraplegic or someone that's missing an arm, or
Right.
I can give them my best advice, but as far as the blind and visually impaired, I can help people the best I can to my knowledge. But I could take any questions about any disability and answer them to the best of my capabilities.
Well, that's what I always tell people. I'm not a doctor or a lawyer or anything. I'm giving advice from my past experience. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
I do it because when I first became disabled, I couldn't find anyone that had any real experience with this. I found a lot of well-meaning people, and their first bit of advice always was call a lawyer. And sometimes a lawyer is the last thing you need. So, But what you're doing, TJ, is helping a lot of people, and what you're gonna be doing with the podcast is gonna be helping a lot more. I look forward to that. So I want to tell everybody everything we spoke about today, all the contacts and the websites are going to be in the show notes, and also TJ's email will be in the show notes. So if you want to contact him or ask him a question or just give him a comment, it's there. You can give it to him, or you can write me, and I'll pass it along to TJ, and maybe we'll get TJ back on here, and he can answer your questions before his podcast is up and running.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm going to tell you right now, you can look forward to me being his guest on his podcast.
Awesome. I'll promise you'll be my first interview, Jimmy.
I'm already booking it.
That's for sure.
But anyway, it's been great having you on here today, TJ. I really thank you for all the time and the information that you shared, because I'm sure you inspired some people. Hopefully you inspired a lot of people. But if
I touch two people, that makes my life. If I inspire anybody, that makes me happy. So especially if anybody has any comments they want to say, hey, you inspired us, and tell me your story. And like I said, if I get your story and it's a good inspirational story, or even if it's just a story that you think is inspirational or whatever, I would love to maybe have you on my podcast like Jimmy had me on his. I mean, any disabilities are cool. I just got this kid in Idaho that actually, he just went blind from a hunting accident also about 3 years ago.
Wow.
And he shot his first deer with a rifle this year, which
Jesus.
I just think it's really cool. And I've been trying to talk to him, and I've been thinking about putting him on my podcast, because I think that's really cool. I want people to tell their stories, and so they can inspire other people,
Excellent.
That's my biggest thing, is inspiring people. So
excellent. Oh, TJ, again, thank you for being on here today, and I will definitely be talking to you very soon. And I'd like to have you back on and keep you on as a reference for the future, for questions people have about it, that if I can't answer them, I'll come to you.
Yes, for sure. If anybody has any questions, pass them along to Jimmy. And like he said, I would love to be back on the podcast again. That would be super cool. I would love to do this again. If anybody has any questions, that would be awesome.
Without a doubt, you'll definitely be back. I'll tell you that. All right, TJ, thank you so much for being on here today, and I'll talk to you again real soon.
Okay, thank you so much, Jimmy. You have a great day.
You too. I'd like to thank TJ Cartwright for being with us today. That was some story, huh? It's amazing. Blind and hunting. The only thing I'd say is stay behind him. Hey, listen, you want to check out some cool merchandise, go over to theblindhunter.org. He's got some really cool sweatshirts, and right now with this weather that we're having, everyone can use a sweatshirt. But check out theblindhunter.org and go to the shops. Check out the Blind Hunter merchandise, shirts, t-shirts. He's got baby clothes, hats. Go over there, check it out. The designs are really, really cool. And the prices are great. So check that out. Hey, I want to thank everybody for stopping by today. And I hope you enjoyed this interview with TJ. And you're probably going to hear more from him. Matter of fact, I know you're going to hear more from him when he starts up his podcast. And you'll hear about it here. I'll let you know when he gets it started up and running. Because I'm going to let you know, I'm going to be a guest. Whether he knows it or not, I'm going to be a guest on his podcast. Anyhow, listen. Things can always be worse, my friends. Just when you think it's so hard, think about this. Things can always be worse. Right now, somebody somewhere is wishing that they were in your position. So things can always be worse. You want to make sure you check out the next episode of An Apple a Day when we have Eric Oberto. He's the actor, singer, songwriter. He was in the last episode of the Amityville Horror. He's going to discuss his vegan lifestyle with us. So you're not going to want to miss that. That's on our next episode of An Apple a Day. Again, I'd like to thank TJ Cartwright for being with us, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day, my friends.
Thanks for listening to An Apple a Day with Jimmy Apple, your gateway to a happy, healthy life. Join our community at www.famousapple.com. See you next time.